Hey guys, what's up? You know how usually most expensive or rare RPGs out there are actually good? Well, not every single one of them is good. There are some, believe it or not, are very bad. And still pricey as hell. And I know if you live in a first world country, some of these prices aren't steep at all, to be honest. But for the rest of the world, trust me, they are. So these are 10 extremely rare and expensive JRPGs that are complete and utter trash! Let's begin. Number 10, Dokapon Monster Hunter. I want to start with the least expensive on the list. It's not that rare either, it goes for measly 80 to 100 bucks complete in box. It's a little bit more than a brand new game nowadays. And the loose card is usually around 50. It just baffles me that this obnoxious calamity can cost the same as many other great GBA RPGs out there. The entire goal of the game is to become a licensed monster hunter. You need to go into these roguelike labyrinths and defeat enemies. That's the entire adventure for you. I'll congratulate you if you make it past the first dungeon without losing your mind out of boredom. The battle system ruins everything by trying to be creative in the most convoluted way possible. It's defined by cards bound by a rock, paper, scissors system. Therefore, they can either be extremely easy or extremely long. Problem is that you only get 2 random cards at the beginning and you have no control over them. So if you pull out a disadvantage card, there's nothing you can do about it. Stupid, silly story will never give you an excuse to go back to this game. And its repetitive nature in dungeon exploration sucks trying to imitate a roguelike RPG for no reason than to hinder your enjoyment. This is one of those many mediocre and forgettable RPGs out there. Not worth the 50 bucks loose, much less 100 complete. Number 9, Metabots Infinity. Currently, this gaming migraine goes for 100 bucks complete in box. That's highway robbery, considering this is the worst RPG on the GameCube. I'd rather spend that money in completely unnecessary DLCs than in this piece of shit. This game's price is a felony, here's why. Metabots Infinity is an action RPG that follows a kid trying to save missing kids, apparently kidnapped by a lame-ass gang. Most of the gameplay will revolve around the arenas, which is where the battles will take place in. Meet the absolute worst controls on the GameCube. Characters move around sometimes as if a black hole was trying to swallow them up. The camera makes everything worse because it tries to focus on your Metabot from above and behind at the same time. Hit detection works whenever, but since the controls are so sluggish, you barely get anything done. Reaction time is by far your worst enemy because it's so goddamn slow to move around. Everything else in this game seems to be fine. They just destroy the camera and controls, which renders this RPG totally unenjoyable. Number 8, Virtual Highlight. Since it's a Saturn RPG, it shouldn't be a surprise that it's rare and expensive. Not too much though, still 100 bucks or maybe a little bit more. If you find it for less, it's because the reseller is very aware no one's ever gonna buy it. It's by far the worst RPG in this video. Not only is it very depressive to look at, but it also makes you feel miserable to play it. Check it out, you walk around in slow motion. What, you think this video is lagging or your internet speed is down? No! That's exactly how this game looks and plays. You need to lead your sorry-ass digitized character through poorly programmed areas and dungeons. You can just start forgetting about things like controls, hit detection, depth, or difficulty because they're all messed up. Sure, you can also run in whatever direction you want, so that kinda gets rid of the slow movement, but do I need to bitch about the camera? Inside the dungeons, it tries so hard to follow your character, it gets stuck sometimes in the damn walls! Look at this! I can barely hit anything in this horrible asshole! Who the hell tested this game? How did this putrid abomination come into existence? What was Atlus thinking localizing a Saturn cocksucker that runs at 5 frames per second? This motherfucker makes Metabots Infinity look like a masterpiece. Do not buy this troglodyte trash. You can use the $100 bill to wipe your dirty fucking ass and get more satisfaction than purchasing virtual high life. Number 7, Kingsfield 4. Fuck this game. Number 6, Car Battler Joe. The rarest JRPG in the Game Boy Advance is one of the most boring, tedious, and mundane games I've ever played. Loose card goes for around 100, while completing box easily surpasses 200. It's an action RPG where you play as Joe, who wants to have a badass car and improve it. For that, he'll need money and or parts. To do that, the player will do a million mind-numbing side quests that will make you traverse the same areas over and over again. And you can't skip them. You will fight in your car while driving it around with some questionable controls. I'll admit the action wasn't that bad, but let's just say it wasn't great. I thought it was a neat idea as a racing RPG, but I later discovered it was just a hastily repetitive dump impersonating one. Why make you go to the same places again and again? Why force the player to do side quests that are almost identical? Why can't I skip the driving from point A to point B? It was developed by Ancient, company owned by Yuzo Koshiro, the music composer. It did well in the reviews for reasons that escape my mental health. The car customization was praised even though I found it very convoluted and weird. Well, I must be pretty fucking stupid not to see the greatness of this unique masterpiece. Number 5, My World, My Way. Why is it that sometimes when developers try to make RPGs girly, they fail miserably? I don't think a sane woman will have a lot of fun playing this catastrophic obscenity. Again, it's a game that loose goes for 1 to 150, while CIB is over 200. You control spoiled Princess Brat in an endeavor to make a random dude fall in love with her. He's an arrogant adventurer, so she thinks she must become one as well. Nice! Best fucking plot ever, huh? The game has some pretty unique ideas for its gameplay mechanics. As you can see, traversing areas is done in these grid-looking maps. Because this RPG revolves around Elise's selfishness, she can often alter the environment to make her exactly how she wants or needs. However, in order to do that, you need pouting points, so you'll need to go back to town and sleep to recover them every time. Since the game relies on doing quests for each town you visit, imagine how freaking repetitive it becomes. Battles are turn-based and they're as mediocre as they can get. There's nothing, absolutely nothing redeemable in them. You have no party members, only your stupid ass parrot who learns spells for you. Meanwhile, this douchebag, hired by the king, will follow you everywhere you go and give you hints from a distance. That's it! That's the entire game! And it goes for 200 nowadays? What the hell, man? Number 4, Shadow Tower. A good condition complete in-box copy of this action RPG will cost you over $200 as well. It's from Software's most insulting cunt in their obscure library of games. The Kingsfield games weren't that good in my opinion, especially not the PS2 one, and they were absolutely brutally hard. Why make yet another of their kind and 10 times worse? No personality, no music, no story, just generic protagonists crawling dungeons in first fucking person. Horrible hit detection, slow ass controls, mediocre camera, uninspiring graphics. It's like everything I always complain about in video games is right here. Every single negative aspect all in one game. And yeah, it's just as hard as any Kingsfield, probably more. But I never made it far enough to compare them. I'd rather rot on a desert island forever with Car Battler Joe than spend 1 hour in paradise playing this goddamn son of a bitch. Number 3. Faria, a world of mystery and danger. More like a world of misery and anger. It's a top-down view action RPG with overworld maps, a shit ton of random encounters, and terrible controls. Add an infinite amount of cryptic areas, brutal spikes, and loathsome puzzles, you get precisely a world of misery and anger. Literally speaking in terms of plot too. Your poor female soldier wakes up in the kingdom of Faria one day, and that's the worst thing that could have happened to her. You're tasked with rescuing the princess, so you rescue her, but you can't marry her because you're a straight girl. They throw a party, but the food was poisoned, so you need to find the medicine for everyone. You cure them all, but it turns out the princess was an imposter. You find that a wizard is the culprit, but he already turned the king to stone. What a miserable plot, man! I feel sorry for this poor girl. Can you believe it was developed by Game Arts, the creators of Lunar and Grandia? If the price of the cartridge alone goes for over 100, you can imagine how much the CIB version goes for. It's very hard to find as well, you know? Perfect, as this game should never be found by anyone in this godforsaken planet. Stay lost for fuck's sake and disappear forever into oblivion! Number 2. Shining Wisdom. Camelot Software Planning, why? Why make a spin-off to your awesome Shining Force series and make it bad? Why did you localize these working designs? Couldn't you see the game was terrible to start with? Shining Wisdom is a horrendous Zelda ripoff with the worst collision detection possible in history. That alone kills the entire experience cause everything else is honestly not that bad. It's these disgraceful and salacious controls made to piss you off like no other game. Mars is a soldier working in Odegan Castle, but he only got there because his daddy was famous, so he's an idiotic, lazy-ass liar and that gets him into trouble. His lies interfere with the antagonist of the game who wants to destroy the world. To atone for his lies, he must stop the Dark Wizard. It's laughable, man. What a pathetic main character. Everything is pathetic here actually. The graphics are an insult to the 16-bit era. The pre-rendered sprites are visually generic. Your attacks depend on the smallest sword ever created. Walking and running around feels as if you were drunk half of the time. I am deeply offended by the mere existence of this game. I, a fan of Shining Force and Camelot Software Planning. I'll never pay $200 or $300 for this indecency, and neither shall you. Number 1. Revelations Persona. Persona 1 on the original PlayStation can go for almost $500 nowadays. And it's a stinking pile of elephant shit! I agree it isn't terrible and it's not too bad, but compared to every single other game in the series, it's beyond ridiculous. When I first played it, I felt I was playing a bad beta prototype for a game. I have no quarrel with the story or the characters, okay maybe with some of them, but that's just me. Nearly everything here is clunky and I'm not talking about the controls alone. It's this graphic style, this interface that looks like a really old PC game, this battle system that's slow as fuck, spiking hard quite often. I love when I have a lot of characters during combat, but this is a solid exception. Navigation in first person during dungeons that look like total ass! High encounter rate ruins it all, getting lost and interrupted is the worst, damn it! Just take a look at this map system! Really, Atlus? This is the legacy of the legendary and overly popular Persona series? This gargantuan violation of my imaginary gaming rights? Granted, it isn't terrible, and there are far worse RPGs on the PS1 like Shadow Tower, but honestly, I'm glad it got a remaster on the PSP that fixed some of its mind-fucking problems. You know, I've noticed that because of the pandemic, maybe the prices at pricecharting.com don't make a whole lot of sense anymore. You go and check something up and it says $50 and then you look it up at eBay or Amazon, it says 100. So what's going on, right? So no, for this video, I didn't exactly base my prices on price charting anymore, but rather on actual reseller prices, retro stores, eBay, Amazon, etc. Not price charting anymore. So that's it guys, I hope you didn't take this video too seriously. It was all to make you laugh. If you laughed, good for you. If you didn't, not my problem. Thanks for watching and see you next time.